Tonight, we're in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, looking for the member of parliament that flipped from a conservative to a liberal and now is hiding. It's November 20th, and this is the Ezra Levant Show.
Shame on you, you censorious thug.
Hi everybody, Ezra Levant here in beautiful Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. Oh, just the drive from Halifax, where we landed at the airport, to here, just about 3 hours. It's so lovely. It's a reminder how big Canada is and how once you get out of the ugly big cities, it's so picturesque. And Yarmouth itself is such easy living. It's near the water. I'm sort of jealous because, I'm in Toronto these days, but I'm not jealous of their politics. Their local member of parliament here, Chris D'Entremont, ran, as he has for several elections now, as a conservative. And he ran loyally as a Pierre Poilievre conservative. And just a few weeks ago, he was letting her rip in Parliament about why he did not trust Mark Carney's Liberals and why he stood with Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives. Here's a clip of that.
I want to speak in support of the Conservative motion because Canadians are hurting. Families are being forced to cut deeply into their grocery budgets just to get by. And frankly, that makes me a little bit angry and a little bit sad.
Canada is a wealthy country, but under this Liberal government, it's being mismanaged. Taxpayers are being squeezed, and their hard-earned money is being wasted.
In southwest Nova Scotia, where I have lived my entire life, people work hard. They want to own a home, feed their children, provide a good education to them, and maybe take a vacation every once in a while. But you know what? Since 2015, everything changed. Since I was first elected here in 2019, the cost of living has skyrocketed. Even then, families in West Nova, it was called at the time, but in Acadianapolis, were struggling. We warned that Liberals, their out-of-control spending and massive deficits were irresponsible. But of course, they didn't listen. And now, after 6 months under a new Prime Minister who promised financial discipline, Canadians are still waiting. He said he'd be judged by the cost at the grocery store. Well, Mr. Speaker, Canadians are judging him, and they are not impressed. Right. Instead of delivering relief, this government delayed its budget. So we're still waiting for a budget. We haven't seen a budget in a year and a half. Why? Because it's projecting an over $92 billion deficit. That's a monstrous, irresponsible burden on future generations. That's right. We'll hear it, I'm sure, maybe the questions that they're talking about a generational investment. But Mr. Speaker, what it really is it generational debt that my kids, their kids, and their kids' kids are going to have to try to pay in one way or another. That causes inflation and extra costs to future generations.
That was literally a couple of weeks ago. But then two things changed. The first is, Chris D'Entremont wanted to be the Deputy Speaker of the House, which is a pretty plum perk. It means you get more pay, more staff, and you get to go to more ceremonial functions. It's also often a precursor to one day being the Speaker himself, which is a very highly paid position, comes with a special house, even an apartment on the center block of Parliament itself. It's an incredible perk, and it looked like Chris D'Entremont wasn't going to get it. So he wasn't going to make as much money as he thought he would. And don't think for a second that wasn't on his mind. Because as I showed you a moment ago, he said he hates Mark Carney and Carney's spending and debt. Well, all it took was a friendly phone call from the Liberals, and Chris D'Entremont, who short months ago ran in this neighborhood as a conservative, he followed his pocketbook. He followed the money, and he became a Liberal. Look at him being embraced. Have you ever seen Mark Carney so joyous before? Look at Chris D'Entremont go and join the Liberals. Now, I don't have anything inherently against people switching parties if there's an important reason to do so. Many of us have switched parties in our lives, especially where I'm from in Western Canada. The Conservative Party, remember, used to be the Progressive Conservatives and the Reform Party, which broke off from the Conservatives years before. I'm not against party switching. Winston Churchill himself switched parties on at least one occasion. But there's ideological reasons or practical reasons or political reasons for that, not just personal ambition and frustration and greed. And that's what Chris d'Entremont did. We're here in Yarmouth trying to find the guy, and right over there in Lovett Plaza is his office. Let's go in and see if he's there. I have a hunch he's not going to talk to us, but we may as well try. Here, let's go take a look. Chris d'Entremont, Member of Parliament for West Nova. And here's the sign taped to the door. Office hours, Monday to Thursday, 10 to 4. Please note, in-person service is available by appointment only. And it's completely locked. He's hiding from his own people. I don't blame him.
All right, well, I'm filming.
Hi, I'm Ezra Levant. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I was just looking at the sign. It says it's closed with no appointment. Is Mr. d'Entremont not doing any?
Not here.
Is he in Ottawa?
Yes.
How's it been these last couple of weeks?
Well, we had the sign.
Yeah. What do people say?
Well, just go on social media and you can see what people are saying.
Is it tough? Is it a? It's tough. I'm sorry to hear that. How would you say it's going? Like about 50-50? Oh, I think she ran away, and she closed the door. I think I scared her off. Huh. She seemed pretty friendly though. That's that Nova Scotia way. Well, as you can see, I went in to see Chris d'Entremont. The office was locked, and there was a sign saying, by appointment only. I had a brief but friendly chat with the lady in there who says it's been a hassle. Look, obviously, I don't blame the staff for the decision obviously done by the boss. I'm sure that Chris d'Entremont did not consult anybody other than maybe his close family and his investment manager. There's no way he would have talked to the local people here. They voted for him several times as a Conservative. And as I said before, there was no compelling reason for him to switch parties. There was no great betrayal by Pierre Poilievre. There was no important change by the Liberals. Like I say, just a few weeks ago, Chris d'Entremont was smashing the Liberals in Parliament. All that changed was his own greed. Doesn't surprise me. His lovely staff don't want to take the flak for it on TV, and I'm going to leave them alone. It's not them I'm looking for. It's Chris d'Entremont who's in hiding. Have you heard that the local MP for these parts, Chris d'Entremont, switched from Liberals to Conservative Liberal?
Yeah, I did.
And what do you make of that?
What a coward. I don't know. Like, how do you switch sides that easily and that quickly? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, especially when the vote was so close here, but now the entire province is pretty much Liberal. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it was a coward, weak move. It just doesn't seem sensible to me.
I think that he already had that in mind. So for the people that were supporting him, then I don't think that was right. No.
As a young person who's kind of starting to pay a little bit closer attention just due to certain living circumstances, I think that him switching over to red just kind of paints something in the same color, if you know what I mean.
Is it frustrating in the democracy? Like, it was so quick after the election.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of think, well, how long have you been thinking about doing that? So how many terms with Trudeau were you thinking, oh, I think I want to switch over there, but you were still fighting the blue fight? Doesn't make sense.
Follow Rebel News.
You know what? I love that you said that. It makes me feel so welcome. I mean, Nova Scotia is one of the friendliest places anyways, but I've had so many friendly people here saying hello to me. It feels great. Well, I'm back in Toronto now. It was a whistle-stop one-day adventure. We got up at 4 a.m. to catch a 6 a.m. flight out to Nova Scotia. Then we rented a car. It was 3.5 hours out to Yarmouth. We only had about an hour or so on the ground before we had to turn around and come home. We did stop super quickly in Digby for a quick bite. But I had so much fun meeting the people of Yarmouth. Oh my gosh, they were friendly. And there were a number of Rebel fans there too. But most of the people we talked to did not support in fact, we didn't find anyone who supported, I don't think we saw anyone who supported Chris d'Entremont switching sides. Now, a number of people were wearing some sort of uniform that day, some sort of a corporate lanyard or hat, and they said they didn't want to talk to us on the record because they didn't want to appear partisan when they were dressed in their corporate gear. So we only spoke to about 3 or 4 people on the record before we had to skedaddle. But look, it is clear. Everyone knows exactly what happened here. A Conservative MP who didn't get the, boost in pay that he wanted, realized he could be treated like a star and he'll get some reward by crossing the floor. He put himself above his constituents. I thought it was pretty gross. By the way, we've set up a little website called firechris.ca. And if you think that Chris d'Entremont has done the wrong thing and that he should quit, and if he wants to run again in a by-election, do it. Where his crossing the floor is the issue. You can't run for public office and then weeks later switch sides. I think that's a betrayal of democracy. Anyways, it's great to be back, but I sure loved the visit and talk about friendly people. One last anecdote before I go. We do streeters or man on the street bids. Sometimes they're called Vox Pop or Vox Populi. And in places like Toronto, they're tough to do. You go to Yonge Dundas Square, which is like the Times Square of Toronto, and you try and get people to stop and talk to you. And maybe 1 in 5 people will stop. Most other people actually brush you off or even swear at you. They say F off when you try and talk to them. I mean, sure, they're busy and Toronto's a busy place. But in Yarmouth, not a single person did that. Every one of them was happy to talk. And if they couldn't stop to talk, they'd say, oh, I don't want to talk about that, or I don't know about that. But none of them said F off. It was sort of a fun step back in time to a politer, more old-fashioned Canada. I know that's a lot to say based on just one day's visit, but I really liked it. Anyway, that was our show. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to the friendly people of Nova Scotia. Thanks to my colleague, Lincoln Jay, who got up early with me and did the long journey. I really think that Chris d'Entremont has to go. I see a lot of gross things in politics, but this felt pretty bad. You can go to firechris.ca.